this business of being a country known for extension. Tebijane mu oil and gas. Extension is the turabie zimara. Sagara bana batitegere katogere mu rwafe. Ine byokengeza yo bye tufunye bimara. Ate gwe nkumanyi to byagara byokongeza. So katu wetubanga twayogede nto kwa musanvu, okay? Tetwagambye nti first yo kwa musamba katugambe nti 30 years okwa musamba at least kiberinga ekintu nga kyabise. Leaders and investors, ladies and gentlemen, I'm glad to be here to join you once again at this 11th Oil and Gas Convention, convened at a defining moment in Uganda's economic transformation. This gathering marks what has been described as the dawn of commercialization, a transition from development into a sustained production phase that will shape our economy for decades to come. Over the past 2 decades, Uganda has pursued a deliberate and disciplined petroleum journey from exploration to discovery, from planning to development. Today, that journey is converging into a single milestone, that is first oil. And I want to congratulate you. But beyond that, and more importantly, it is opening the door to a much larger national objective, that is economic transformational at scale. As Parliament, we view this moment not only as a sector's milestone, but as a strategic inflection point in Uganda's development trajectory. The petroleum sector is a key enabler in delivering the country's ambition of tenfold economic growth, expanding our economy from approximately $50 billion to $500 billion by 2040. That's all we are working for, and that's our target, and we must achieve it. This ambition is not abstract. It is grounded in our national frameworks, Vision 2040, the National Development Plan 4, and the Energy Policy 2023, which position energy and extractives as foundational drivers of industrialization, productivity, and national competitiveness. Ladies and gentlemen, the tenfold growth strategy is anchored on the ATMS priorities, that is agro-industrialization, tourism development, mineral-based industrialization, and science and technology and innovation. Petroleum development intersects directly with each of these pillars. It provides reliable energy and feedstock to drive agro-processing and industrial production. It supports infrastructure development that enhances tourism and regional connectivity. It underpins mineral-based industrialization, including petrochemicals, fertilizers, and manufacturing. And it enables investment in science, technology, and skills development, which are essential for long-term competitiveness. In this regard, oil and gas is not an end in itself, but it is a strategic catalyst for broader economic transformation. Uganda has built a strong policy and legal foundation to support this transition. Parliament has played its role in enacting laws that ensure the sector operates within a framework of transparency, accountability, and national interest. And like my sister Ruth alluded to, when I was just appointed a government whip, a chief whip, my first assignment, which was the baptism of fire, was to lead efforts in processing the East African crude oil pipeline bill. I remember burning the midnight candle and bringing people together. And that bill gave me hope, because we could have meetings in the office of the government chief whip. The next phase, we could shift to the leader of opposition's office, Honorable Matthias Mpuga. And why? because this was a national issue. It was an issue where we didn't need any politics. And it was so strategic in such a way that the president had already committed the country. So we were reducing the agreements the president had committed on into a law. So therefore there was no room for adjusting on critical clauses in the bill. But I want to thank you, Honourable Minister, for being humble, for knowing that even opposition can contribute positively. And we sat down and we agreed as a team. And we ended up passing that law on record without a single caucus meeting. Because I remember when I talked to the president and he said, so when are you having a caucus meeting over this? I said, but this is not an issue for NRM to caucus. We need a national caucus here. We don't need a party caucus, you know? So, and we ended up really doing very well with it. And also, when we had the Petroleum Supply Amendment Bill 2023, and we were called all kinds of names. Someone said I had been given billions. A member even asked, how can a presiding officer come to attend a meeting of a committee? Yeah, but I'm a member of parliament. I can guide either in a committee or on the floor. You know? Minister, remember the members didn't want to see the minister. We held meetings here at Munyonyi. But in the end, I think Uganda is receiving status supplies of oil, of petroleum products, because of that law. So I learned that it doesn't have to be the public. You know, if you follow the streets of social media, if you take the debate to the streets of social media, you can never win. You can never win. But I'm very, very happy that we followed the guidance of our vision bearer, His Excellency the President, who looked far, who supported us so much, despite a lot of pressure from the private sector in Kenya that was benefiting from these transitional charges. And when I saw that UNOC made $150 million out of this, yet the prices remained low, the supply very stable, it gave me, you know, I felt we can still do a lot for this country. There are very many opportunities for this country if we listen to the right people and we follow the right advice. So, Honourable Minister, I'm glad that went to pass, and please keep bringing such a laws. You know, we will do whatever it takes. I'm just referring to how we supported you. The recent one, the most recent one, is the $2 billion loan that we passed in 30 minutes in the House. And someone was trying to say, how? But I'm a businessman, I know business. I'm not in the business of petroleum sector. Jimmy called me several times, even Uncle Sir Rich. He tried to interest me in that business. I've done several businesses. The one of oil and gas, I left it for you people. You do it, I don't want to make money in that sector. You make it. We will meet somewhere, we enjoy it together. I wish you the best. But, you know, because you see, when you're a leader, you have to look far. If you are borrowing, government is borrowing $2 billion, and the security we have is a good performance of UNOC. Okay? So we are not exposing the country so much. It's not going to affect our debt to GDP ratio. What is very, very important is for us to know that Madam Nabanja at UNOC and with my brother Katamba, they are going to do a fantastic job with the support of the minister and the PS. And you are going to use that money to buy shares in the oil pipeline, where we are going to, you know, have where we had very difficult negotiations when we wanted to give monopoly of import of petroleum products to UNOC, and now they are giving you a chance to sit on the table. Then you want to build your storage facilities. You want to revamp your facilities at Mombasa. You want to build the roads that are going to enable the sector grow. And you want to invest in the refinery. And then you tell me I need more than 10 minutes to make a decision. Why? Why? Because someone was accusing me. I remember when I chaired that session, and I said I need this sorted out in 20 minutes. I said, how do you commit 2 billion? How do you commit 2 billion? And you want to do it in only 30 minutes, just without going to the committee to do what? 2 billion. But I mean, that's the one that should take even 5 minutes. Then, if it's on $100 million, I should take a week. Yeah, because small monies, I know the level of scrutiny compared to big monies, you know. So, Honourable Minister, I'm saying all this because I want to guarantee you that as an institution of Parliament, where I'm still a member, okay, I've already acquired another term as a member, we are going to support you strongly. We have supported you on appropriation. We had very many issues to do with appropriation. Ernest here can tell you, Ernest and Madam Wapakaburo, when they were starting PAU and UNOC, and no money was coming from cabinet, we cut very many budgets at Parliament level. I remember there was a time he needed software, and government refused to give him money, and we said, no. We cut some projects, and we said, go have software and do your work. So when it comes to Parliament, this is a sector we are going to give all the necessary support. We only request for transparency, which you are already doing, but we want you to maintain it. We request for strong local content. We need our people, not local content for the sake of it. No. We want them to share in the big monies. We want them to access the big monies. We want you to be deliberate. We want Total, we want Sinok and the big players to be deliberate in hand-holding Ugandan companies to ensure they share in the big monies. Not just catering, not what, no, we want the big money. We also know big money. Yeah, we want a Ugandan company to make $500 million. That's when I feel proud. Not just $10 million, which people come, get excited, build apartments around, and we say, that one has made oil money. No, we want to hear that they are making the real big money. A bigger part of the cake. That's my dream. And we really want the Petroleum Authority of Uganda focus on that so much. Ensure that local content is highly supported. Honourable Minister, I was really excited to see regional efforts aimed at building a refinery at Tanga. I'm very, very sure, and I know the dream of our president, we shouldn't be scared that this will affect our proposed refinery here in Uganda. No. I'm just excited about it, and I request you to work with your fellow ministers to expedite this. Because the presidents have spoken. Now it's your turn. Because when you look at the oil, at the petroleum products we consume, I think we consume around 500 barrels of refined products in the region, around that. Yeah, we don't need to go for the 650,000 barrels which Mr. Dangote is talking about. Let's go for around 300,000, 400,000. Then we add on the Ugandan one of around 60,000 barrels. And we refine our products from East Africa so that we don't export our jobs, I have been meeting manufacturers of plastics. The raw materials have gone up by around 50%. Manufacturers of cosmetics. The raw material has gone up by around 80%. Manufacturers of fertilizer. So these petrochemical products are extremely, extremely crucial. They are a very big driver to our economy, and I hope it's one of the things we look at deeply. And Honorable Minister, I request you that you give it so much attention. Be the driver. Be the driver. Let us have the refinery at Tanga. Let us support Mr. Dangote. Let us support an African. We don't need, you know, when we hear an African is going to do something big, we usually doubt ourselves right away. Please, Mr. Dangote can do it. Let us support him. Let us support him. Let us supply him the products. Let us build something and we'll be proud of Africa. That's when we shall have achieved the NRM vision of Pan-Africanism. As Parliament, we will continue to provide oversight, ensure that transparency of the highest level is achieved. And also, we ensure that petroleum revenues are managed prudently, local commitments, local content commitments are honored, and environmental and social safeguards are enforced. This is how we ensure that petroleum becomes a blessing for all Ugandans. The message coming from government and industry is very clear. Uganda is moving from a construction phase into a long-term production economy. The convention highlights this shift from capex-driven investments to an opex-driven phase that will sustain operations for 20 to 30 years. We are therefore moving from building the infrastructure to running and maintaining it over the long term, creating sustained opportunities for many years to come. This is where real value will be created through long-term service contracts, through technology transfer, and through the growth of Ugandan enterprises. And Honourable Minister, I just wanted to touch a little on this. A member I shared with you and the PS that countries that have benefited from oil and gas sector are countries which have invested. We can't just sit here and wait for royalties. Please, any support you need from Parliament in terms of appropriation that can make us big investors in the sector, we are going to guarantee it and we are going to give it. That's the only way we shall make money for this country. I therefore urge the private sector to reposition accordingly. The opportunities ahead are not short-term, they are generational. Uganda is also positioning itself as a regional energy industrial hub for East and Central Africa, supported by strategic infrastructure such as the pipeline, refinery, and industrial parks. As highlighted in the convention framework, the goal is to ensure that petroleum becomes a springboard for sustainable development, not dependency. Uganda stands at a historic moment. The foundation has been laid. The policies are in place. The investments are underway. What is required now is disciplined execution. This business of extending, Minister Kandoze, especially now that we've had the war in Iran, you'll hear that now containers have delayed. You hear, please, this business of being a country known for extension. Extension is the turabye zimara. Sagara bana batitegere katogere murwafe. Nebyokwengeza yo bye tufunye bimara ate gwe nkumanyi tobyagala byokongeza kongeza. So kati wetubanga twayogedde nti kwa musanvu, okay? Tetwagambye nti first yo kwa musamba katugambe nti 30 years okwa musamba at least kiberenga ekintu nga kyabise nga bitandise kujja. Ate mwe bana Uganda mulina empisa mbi muyinza kuwulira bano byenjogedde mulabe nti babitegeera bino byaffe bya mu kisenge. So byaffe tuongeremu amaanyi. Okay? So what is required now is disciplined execution. If we remain focused, coordinated and accountable, the petroleum sector will not only deliver fast oil, but it will also deliver tenfold growth, industrial transformation, and shared prosperity.